Good day, everybody, and welcome to today's latest episode on my YouTube video series. And today we're going to talk about something hot, very hot, in fact, which is not just the weather. Okay, weather has been hot, but actually the hot thing is the Johor property market recently. In the past couple of weeks, actually, we have seen project launches in, especially in JP City Centre, have been doing very, very well. So I'm going to share my 2 cents about these three projects, their performance, and what I think is the reasons why, and what will happen going forward. So the three projects that I'm talking about are basically number one, R&F Princess Cove Phase 3. Now, R&F Princess Cove Phase 3 had a launch, I think about a weekend back, where they opened up two towers for sale, and I think they sold about 500 units, more or less, in that weekend. A very strong performance here. You can look at the scale model photo here, and also it's a photo of the sales charts here. These are the two sales charts. So one tower is effectively fully booked, and one more tower has about maybe 60-70% sold, which is quite strong performance, right? R&F Princess Cove, one thing is pricing is attractive. They started with about actually as low as 800 plus per square foot. There were units actually for sale this weekend at 8xx per square foot, which is very, very cheap. And about average, I think it's about 900 plus, right? With some units touching over 1,001 for those sea view units, which is attractive pricing, right? Considering this is near CIQ, walking distance to CIQ, roughly about a 15-minute walk to CIQ Sheltered Bridge. So I think very popular with the buyers. One bedrooms were only going for about 500,000 plus ringgit, right? Two bedrooms about 700 plus 800 plus thousand ringgit. So this price point is very attractive for most buyers, and we can see that in the demand showing there today. The next project to sell very well, of course, was the EXSIM CIQ, code name EXSIM CIQ, or actually the real name, we can probably share it right now, which is a Causeways Square. Now, you can see the model photo. This is Causeways Square model, right? Their sales gallery is also up. Their show flats are not ready yet, not until August, right? And Causeway Square also showed a very strong performance. I can show the charts. This is from their system because they don't have a sales chart or physical one. It's all shown via their system. You can see also quite heavily booking, right? Easily, 70-80%, maybe more bookings on the current tower that was open for sale, Tower B. So Causeway Square by EXSIM is popular because number one, EXSIM is a very well known brand name. So a lot of people from KL like to buy EXSIM product. EXSIM has a very strong track record in KL, and they're doing also a mixed development with retail downstairs, and they're also quite near the CIQ, roughly a 600-meter walk. So the EXSIM CIQ selling at 1,300 per square foot is more expensive, right, than R&F. But I mean, people argue that they say that superior workmanship, all that. Well, let's see. And we can see that when the show flats are out. And EXSIM is also going to open up another tower soon, which is their Tower D, and also the Airbnb tower, which is if you want to have an Airbnb operator, they will also be doing that, right, coming soon. So EXSIM will also be a very big competitor in this market because they also have a large number of units, about 4,000 plus units. But yeah, like I said, there will be a lot of people who love EXSIM product and want to buy EXSIM, and their walking distance is actually quite decent, near to CIQ, better than R&F Princess Cove. The third option actually is this GenSphere, which is MajesticGen's second project here in this vicinity after Gen Rise. Now, GenSphere has also sold pretty well. I think pretty much all their smaller units are booked. They only have the larger loft size units left. Also selling about 1,300 per square foot, right? They are most known for popularizing the dual key, 1+1 dual key layout, which is very popular nowadays. And you must take note that GenSphere has done exceptionally well considering that their foreigner minimum purchase price is 1 million ringgit, which means GenSphere, right, with about 900 plus units, have sold majority to Malaysian buyers, right, because their foreigner have to buy above million, and most of their units are actually at local price, which is about 500,000, 600,000 ringgit. So GenSphere has shown that actually there are a lot of Malaysian buyers buying these projects, right? They're not just Singaporeans. And if you look at the model, right, this is the MajesticGen model, which is quite nice. I think you've seen that earlier, right? They don't have a sales chart to show us, but you can see they're performing pretty well as well. And they're also quite near immigration building. In fact, probably the nearest of the three, right? Other projects that have done very well so far in the vicinity, also Arden Residences. You guys can watch my Arden video here on my channel. Arden has also done quite well. All the low floor 2 bedrooms are pretty much fully sold. High floor 2 bedrooms only left a few units. Low floor 3 bedrooms also left limited units only. actually really not nice view on the low floor 3 bedroom left. If you want to buy other now, basically it's all high floor only, right? Which are not covered by their HSM Airbnb program. But of course, Arden is nice at around 1,300 per square foot, good developer, and will do a very high workmanship, high specifications product here. So to come to a conclusion, you say, Ryan, wow, all these projects are doing very well. Are sure or not, are JB Property really selling so well? Okay, a bit of disclaimer, especially like for EXSIM CIQ, for R&F Princess Cove, and for even MajesticGen GenSphere earlier, right? A lot of the bookings are still at booking stage. That means the buyer, they put a booking, usually quite low booking of maybe 1,000 ringgit, right? And these buyers still have to go through loan, right? So there may be a loan process where some buyers will drop out, right? And not all of them will go through these bookings. Like in also EXIM case and R&F case and even GenSphere case, there's also a Boomi provision, Boomi lot provision, like GenSphere Boomi lot provision is about 40%, for EXIM is about 20%, R&F is 10%. So there are Boomi lots there as well, which are probably not reflected in the sales chart, right? You will probably see them as sold or reserved in their sales chart, but actually these are Boomi lots, right, which you cannot buy or you have to wait for conversion, right, before they can be sold. But generally speaking, even if you consider all these factors, right, the demand is still very strong. It shows that actually people want to buy JB property, right? And people want to buy JB property near the RTS. This is the important thing I want to say. So although projects across JB overall are selling, right? So if you see, I talk about other projects like in Danga Bay or in Medini, right, or in Skudai, right? Although they're selling, but they're not selling as well as here, right? City center still sell the best, and that is primarily because of RTS, lah, right? So if, as you guys know, earlier this week, the ministries of transport both in Malaysia and Singapore unveiled the RTS train, right? So some photos here from their launch. This is the RTS train itself, right? And there will also be a this is the interior, which looks very much like any Singapore MRT, right? And this is some of the photos here as well. So this RTS, just to remind everybody, will open end of 2026, December 2026, right? Construction is very heavily advanced right now. The infrastructure works are more or less completed for the viaducts, right? And we are now doing the train track installation, which is over 50% completed. So we expect the train tracks to be ready sometime end of this year, and next year you can start to see train trials happening already, actual trains moving on the track, right, which is doing the system, the actual trials, right, the train moving up and down, sometime next year. But immigration, all that, by the time they settle in, will be end of next year, and then we expect to see a launch by January 2027. So the RTS will bring 10,000 people per hour per direction. So everybody buying property in JB today because they want to be near the RTS, and the RTS is effectively a new station on top of the Singapore existing station. So if you look at this map, this is the Thomson line, because RTS connects to the Thomson line in Singapore. So you have this extra additional station over here, which brings me to other topic, right? Why I think Singapore property market will support JB property market, right? Is because Singapore property market is still fairly healthy. Although I think Singapore property market in the past 3 to 6 months is considered a bit slow because considered a bit slow, right? Because of the Donald Trump tariff issues and a lot of these issues about possible World War III, right? So market a bit slow, rental also a bit weak in Singapore right now. But overall, the numbers are pretty stable. If you see HDB prices, transactions are still pretty strong in the past few months. You can see government also pushing new BTO launches. This is an interesting slide where you can see where government want to push the new clusters of living, right? The interesting one, of course, I think is the one that along the Thomson line, because this is where the RTS track will be. So as you know, there's a lot of BTO in Woodlands North, right? There's also a lot of new housing coming up in Springleaf here, right, which is just next to the Thomson line, which is very near to go to JB. Also in Lentor, right, which you can also very go near to JB, right, and also in Marina Bay, which you can also go near to JB. Can you imagine next time all those people who own property in Marina Bay, right, they'll think, hey, I can also buy property in JB because it takes me about 1 hour to go from my Marina Bay condo to to my JB condo, right? Because it's all directly straight line, right? Eventually, even people who stay in Bayshore, why not, right? Because Bayshore also connected to Thomson East Coast Line. So the other big thing you must take note is that Singapore government still has plans to put the population in Singapore anywhere from 6.5 to 6.9 million, right, the next 5 to 10 years. So Singapore population today is 6 million, so we probably add another 500,000 to almost 1 million people in Singapore, right, over the next 5 to 10 years. This will continue to support property prices in Singapore, and as long as Singapore property prices are high, JB property prices will remain strong as well, because JB property prices is a function right? It's a subset of Singapore property prices. So that's what I want to share today, right? Will the JB property market be weak in the short term? Unlikely, no. They will be strong in the next 1 to 2 years at least, because as RTS comes, there'll be a lot of demand coming in from Singapore, right? Especially for Malaysians working in Singapore, especially for Singaporean retirees. So I think if you want to buy, right, it's still not too expensive. Prices can only go up after RTS complete. If you think they're expensive now, right, it will only go up after RTS complete. So it's still correct to buy now one, right? I repeat, it's still correct to buy now, because when RTS comes up, it can only get higher, right? Because effectively, Woodlands and JB become neighbor via this RTS track. So don't wait, right? My suggestions, any property in JBCCC will do, right? If you watch my earlier videos, I tend to talk about all the projects earlier, right? Around 1,000 per square foot to 1,300 per square foot. That's the price range we're talking about now. It's just a question of which property you prefer. Don't wait. One thing good about EXSIM CIQ and one thing good about R&F Princess Cove is that they still have stock to sell, right? Still got towers to release, which they will do so over the next few months. So don't waste your time, right? Come and see, especially if you're not familiar, right? Don't waste your time and come and take a look what's available, right? Because like what happened last weekend, right? A lot of people cannot buy the units that they want because the sellout. So like some popular units like the one bedrooms and the dual keys all sell out quite fast, right? So if you want to get a good unit, that could be a challenge if you are a bit slow. Buy property in JB, please contact me. My name is Ryan Khoo. This is my phone number, 81261626. You can WhatsApp me. We can have a discussion first. No obligations, right? One thing good about using me is that I'm both familiar with the Singapore market and the JB market, so I can explain both sides very well in a way that's helpful to you, that you will understand, right? Unlike most Malaysia agents who don't really understand the Singapore side of things. So please contact me and I can sell probably all the projects which I mentioned earlier, right? In case whichever tickles your fancy, which one you prefer lah. And give you a bit of a small, easy tour around JB City Centre. Okay, if you do like our content, please share with your friends. Do like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Every like and share helps us to and subscribe helps us to maintain this channel and get it to the right people, especially for those of you who are interested to buy a property in JB, right? A lot of people have made money buying JB property in the past 1-2 years, especially if you bought in the past 1-2 years, right? You probably made money. So this trend will only continue once RTS is up. Don't waste your time, because Singapore property prices are expensive and unlikely to go down. This is the most important thing. Singapore prices are expensive and unlikely to go down, and high prices in Singapore will only mean that JB property prices will increase as well. So thank you very much. Hope this was useful to you. Please comment below if anything to add to my video. Thank you very much, and bye bye.